Hi, welcome to the Michael McBrine Show. We were live, but I always forget to hit record for the YouTube audience, which, of course, is where I plan to have our biggest numbers, of course, is in the replays. Not necessarily on Wednesday nights.
Or you can get your ad revenue. Oh, wait, no. YouTube recently changed that. It kind of pisses me off.
YouTube is just kind of weird.
Yeah, they're screwed. They're shooting themselves in the foot.
If YouTube doesn't watch out, they're gonna lose out to one of these Vimeo or what's the other one?
There's Vimeo.
Vimeo, excuse me, and there's another one. There's a couple more out there.
Daily Planet.
No, Daily Motion.
Daily Motion.
Daily Motion is the other. They're gonna lose out to one of these companies. Just like they might.
They've got to come up with better names than Vimeo and Daily Motion. Like
you know
YouTube is very catchy as a
You remember
title.
before Facebook, there was a little website called MySpace.
Yeah.
So YouTube might just go the way of MySpace if they don't watch out. You know what's crazy is I was talking to...
It'll just be for music, kind of like MySpace. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of the show, Pete, today. And I was talking to him about Facebook and MySpace. And it's funny because we were talking about how Facebook will charge you if you want to get a wider spread audience. Like if I wanted more people to watch this podcast on Facebook, I have to pay.
Yeah, you can buy advertising.
I have to buy advertising when, why can't it just be, why do I have to pay extra? Anyway. And I remember, and I was telling him, I remember when I was first pitched Facebook, I had just done a play for the Waco Civic Theater. And everybody in the theater group. This was just around the time. This was 2008 or something like that. This was around the time where more and more of the public were getting into Facebook because it used to be just a college thing.
Yeah, which college was it? Do you remember?
Well, it started with Harvard.
Fact. Yeah, Harvard.
Well, the guy's from Harvard. The what's his name? Zuckerberg's from Harvard.
Yeah,
and then he went out to California and he formed a team there. If you watched The Social Network, they go into it.
I don't remember if I've seen it or not.
It's an okay movie.
The Steve Jobs movie.
Which one? Which Steve Jobs movie?
I want to say the one.
Three of them.
Oh, really? There have.
Yeah.
I've seen the one with Ashton Kutcher.
Oh yeah, you saw the terrible one.
That's the bad one.
That's the bad one. That's where Ashton Kutcher proved to the world he couldn't act, which is really sad.
I don't really remember it, so I guess you're right.
There's that one, and then there's the one with the guy who I think it was the guy who played Magneto, the young Magneto.
I couldn't tell you. I can.
He was also
Ian guy is the old Magneto.
He was also in Django Unchained. I forget the actor's name.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it wasn't Django Unchained. It was 13 Years a Slave. I'm sorry. What's that guy's name? He was Magneto. He was a young Magneto. Anyway, he played Steve Jobs. Unless I'm messing this all up, but I believe it was him. He was the guy who was at an Assassin's Creed movie.
I didn't know there was Assassin's Creed.
You didn't know there was an Assassin's Creed movie?
I'm sure it was dreadful.
Well, it's a video game movie, so that goes without saying.
Well, not only that, it's like a really overdone, like it's totally screwed up. Everything about that game is just bad now. Everyone's tired of it.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine anybody would want any more material that had to do with that franchise.
Yeah. It's weird because he's all in like a virtual reality simulation, and then he just like turns real. I don't know. It's like, and he goes back in time. Or I don't know. I don't care. I don't play Assassin's Creed, so I don't know what goes into it.
I only know base knowledge of it is like something to do with they can teleport you back in time through the memories of your ancestor that are like stored in your DNA or something like that.
Right.
And I don't know if there's only certain people that can do it or what. But
it's pretty funny.
It's an interesting concept, but they've done it to death.
Do you think there's anything to that, like the your ancestors' memory stored in your DNA?
Actually, I kind of do think there's stuff like that because you ever heard about this stuff where, like, when people are asleep and they'll speak in languages they've never spoken before?
No, I've never heard of that.
I mean, there are cases where people have done that when they're asleep. They'll be speaking fluently, or that's what they say. I've never seen any video proof of it or anything like that.
I speak Pig Latin in my sleep. I don't know what that means.
Maybe some playground memories. Trying to.
I don't know, but
teachers and stuff.
The way I've heard the expression "time is a flat circle." Have you ever heard that?
I've heard it, but I don't get it.
I don't really know it the exact meaning of it, but I think there's something to it. I think time is a circle, and we just keep going through the motions, because if you think about it, if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, everything started really small and then it expanded, and then it'll have a big crunch. My theory, and this is what I think it's going to crunch one day, and then it's going to expand again. And just that's what I've been told, is that it crunches, it expands. It crunches, it expands. So
how many times do you think we've had this conversation?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking like I think just the same thing happens over and over again, and that it's not necessarily that we've had this conversation before. It's just that our concept of time is really different. Because I think I read this article about Stephen Hawking recently, and he was saying, because he tried to answer the question, what was there before the Big Bang? Like, what existed before the Big Bang? And he just said nothing existed, which is a really simple answer to a very complicated question. He goes, there was nothing. It just happened that these two particles just kind of appeared out of nowhere. But why did they appear out of nowhere? Who knows? So yeah, I think we've relived the same life over and over again. So there is something to reincarnation, except it's just your own life you're living over again. So who knows? It's one of those things that you can't really wrap your head around too much, or you go crazy.
You couldn't probably ever even know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the sad truth.
Because for you to know that, you'd have to experience our universe from outside our universe, which is basically impossible.
And what's funny is, and the really sad part about that whole theory, is it kind of supports the theory presented at the end of K-Pax with the stand-up citizen Kevin Spacey. You see K-Pax?
No.
All right, so
you'll find I haven't seen a lot of stuff.
So Kevin Spacey at the end of K-Pax. Spoilers if you haven't seen K-Pax. It's worth checking out if you just put all the stuff about Kevin Spacey out of your mind for a second and just sort of just watch the movie. He says at the end of the movie, and he basically talks about what I just talked about, where you reliving your same life over and over again. And he says, just make sure you do it right the first time, because you're going to live it over and over and over again throughout eternity, which was an interesting way of looking at life. You know, just do it right the first time, because you're going to have to experience it over and over again. I don't know. Let's see, we're 15 minutes into the show, and we're discussing the meaning of life.
We're talking about science and time travel. I think time travel is interesting.
It's a very different conversation than when Randy's here. I'll just say that. But anyway, go ahead.
Y'all let that boil on.
Randy's more into talking about Fast and the Furious and what cops have just told him. I don't know. Anyway.
Why are the cops speaking to him?
Well, he's from West, and I guess that's a real tiny town or whatever.
It's not a big town.
Oh, shoot, did I leave the door open? Uh-oh. I guess when I locked it.
I mean,
we'll have Sanchez close the door when he gets here. Sanchez is walking. Look how Sanchez cases the joint when he walks in. I said, I like how you case the joint when you walk in. You're sort of just looking at all your surroundings. Do you mind closing the door behind you?
Yeah, be fucking aware of your surroundings.
He's like...
I do that to everybody. I do that to everywhere I go.
He's like making sure there's nobody.
I grew up in a shitty neighborhood, man.
I was going to ask if you were in the military, if you just got beat up a lot as a kid.
No, I did get into a lot of fights, though.
Like somebody was always waiting around the corner.
Yeah, well, no, we had people break into our house before, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're on 6?
I guess so.
5.
Sorry. No, you're on 5?
Yeah.
Well, let me talking to the mic just to make sure.
Mic check, 1,
Trey,
2.
can you talk in?
A test.
Okay, good.
Would have been here sooner, but Brian likes to take an hour and a half showers. There's no reason for someone who's not getting laid to take that long in the shower.
Oh, the reason is probably that he's not getting laid. He's pleasuring
No, he's got his
himself.
own room.
Yeah, but unless there's a lock on the door.
There is a lock. There's a lock on every door in the house.
Well,
I have a question for you.
I don't know. It feels better in the shower sometimes.
I get.
I don't know. When you're 14 and you've got nowhere else to hide. Yeah.
That didn't stop Brian's brother. They used to sleep in the same room together. He said he used to look over in the middle of the night and see the sheet just going.
Good God.
Hold on a second. How old was Randy at the time?
That wasn't Randy. That was his.
I'm sorry.
That was his other brother,
You said
Steve.
brother. I'm sorry. So is Brian not, by the way, that's disgusting. Anyway, is Brian just not going to do the show anymore? Is that what's going on? Or
No, that's not it. He just fucking, what you call it? Just got to work on the weekdays. I don't know what happened Friday. That kind of pissed me off on Friday.
all right. What I mean is, so Wednesdays he's not going to do the show.
Yeah,
or-
Wednesdays.
Okay, but he'll still do Friday.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know
Sanchez?
about Randy. He hasn't talked to Randy. Randy surprisingly hasn't called him, and he's usually calling him every day.
Is Brian complaining about this?
No, he's not.
Sanchez, let me introduce you, Trey. You know Trey.
I know
of
Trey.
course.
Yeah, we've
You
met.
introduce him.
Do you guys know each other outside the comedy shows? It's a
not
small
so
town,
much.
so I don't know.
I mean, besides Facebook interactions,
Okay.
and those are so sterile because there's no face-to-face shit.
So yeah, Trey, if you could do your best Randy impression, just so we feel like it's a normal
Oh,
show.
come on now. Y'all let that ball alone.
Everybody thinks that like we jump on him for but he knows.
People
like,
don't understand, and plus it's funny because I was talking to Pete today, and he goes, I can't remember what he said exactly. He was like, I'll pick on him too much or something like that. It was like, even Pete. I was like, Pete, he brings it on himself. You gotta
One, he brings it
understand.
on himself. Two, he know we explain to him before he comes in every time. Like, look, we're playing characters. We're just talking. I'm gonna come after you, and you're gonna be Randy.
Oh, what's something Randy would talk about?
Oh, himself. I like see.
He
What
was
I
probably
don't
talking
know
about
him
how
well
time-
enough yet I wouldn't be able to impersonate him.
here's a
that
little
well.
world building here in my head. Like,
World building.
Yeah, like
Randy's just a character.
Randy got pissed off because Brian wouldn't talk to him on a game that he was playing. He was playing Monster Hunter, which requires you to be in depth with your team. Let them know. He just jumps on their little chat party, and then he immediately goes into talking about himself and like getting upset because Brian won't pay attention to him while he's playing the game. So he hasn't called
Was
him
this
since,
recently happened? Okay.
So he hasn't called him since then. And
Is that the reason he hasn't called?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, and I'm
That's
thinking
kinda
too. It's
petty.
like this probably set off a series of events inside his head, and he's finally activated as a serial killer. And the first
God.
person he killed was his mom. That's why he hasn't heard from his mom either. And now he's gonna go
shit.
after his sister, and after his sister, I think he's gonna come from me.
Well, it's been nice.
I thought it was people that you love first, so maybe he'll come before Brian.
No, it's usually
Maybe
like
it'd be Brian then.
Do you think I'm in the clear though? He likes me.
I think he hates me so much that it's turned into passion. So therefore, he'll come for me sooner than later.
I don't know. I think he'd save you for last.
No, I don't think he would save me for last.
I think
He's not that
he'd
he's
like-
not that plotting.
No, we asked him who he would kill after first, and he said it was you.
Yeah, he said he would
Oh.
kill me first.
Oh,
out of all
really?
of us. Yeah.
It'd be great. If it's like, remember when I said I'd
don't-
kill you first? I lied.
yeah, like
Just
everyone
save me
else
for
is dead.
last.
Yeah, and he ties you up and masturbates in front of you or something because he's just
oh my
like,
God, dude.
He's wrong
That's
brother.
all I need is for.
Trey, wrong brother. Wrong
yeah,
brother.
sorry, I was thinking of Steve.
Hey, so Trey, tell us about yourself. What makes you? Are you originally from Waco or
I'm from the area, yeah.
from the area? He lives. In
That probably means Bellmead. No one ever wants.
No,
no one
no.
ever wants to. No one ever wants to admit they're from Bellmead.
Yeah, a step or two above Bellmead.
do you ever? By the way, how often do you go to Belmead? Just
Oh
crazy.
God! Every like few months at like 3 o'clock in the morning to their Walmart just to see the fucking mutants
It
whirling around
is-
there.
I haven't been out there in a while.
It's funny because I only.
On purpose, anyway.
I only go out there because, like, anyway, it's just for whatever reason. Because I get bored with going to the same Walmart, so I'll just go to the one in Belmead for whatever reason. And plus, they usually have the best clearance section because nobody buys anything over there, so everything's on clearance. And that's just
mostly shoplifting is the way.
Yeah,
they get
that's
stuff
probably
there.
why there's nothing
that's
being
just a
sold.
reflection of the city itself. It's no wonder they wanted to build that baseball stadium over there because the land's probably the cheapest.
that
in
might be
Belmead.
true.
Yeah.
Well, there's a guy I'm friends with on Facebook that I went to college with, and he did write a song about Bellmead. He made a music video about it, some rap song.
Oh,
Are
you know
you
what?
talking about the Fresh Prince of Belmead? No.
we used to
Do you know
do
what that
this,
one is though?
Yeah, I know that is. That's
Okay.
Red Letter
Yeah,
Media.
it's
I
Red
mean,
Letter
not Red
Media.
Letter, but Red Sea.
Red Sea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what's funny about that one? That it was a little, no offense to them. It was a little corny, a little cutesy. But then they started showing like hardcore pictures of like heroin needles and like people strung it. It was like
Well, that is par for the course of Belmead.
It's like that thing in comedy where it's supposed to be playful. It doesn't really get that harsh. They started splicing in pictures of like the most harshest things. Like,
So
dude,
that's
goes
edgy
full on.
humor.
It goes full on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
what?
What are you talking about?
The scene where they're going through the
Through the
fucking
tunnel?
Yeah, through the tunnel. Like it's all cutesy and like fucking.
Then all of a sudden, Willy
It's
Wonka
like-
starts having fucking
It's like
acid trips.
It's
and
like
stuff.
this cutesy little rap, and then they just start showing like people that look like skin and bones shooting needles into their arms and stuff. It was like
We
some
used
hardcore.
to-
So I was like, whoa, this is not. You know,
We used to have this song. It was a parody of the Thunder Rolls. It was the meth lab blows and the needles fly. Drug bust gone wrong on a Belmead night.
should we applaud? I don't know. What to do.
I didn't know you were finished.
I was trying to remember the rest. And I
It
just
was like
decided.
there
Yeah,
was
go
like
ahead. I'll save your applause.
there was hesitation in that pause, so that's why I was like, huh.
But I was gonna say is every time like very few times I've actually driven like into Belmead, like past Walmart, like into like that area. And I went there like a year or so ago.
So it's like fucking.
It's like this whole other like city. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, where did this come
Could
from?
have sworn I saw an eagle swoop down and grab a baby.
I saw an eagle with a rat in its like talons the other day. It was pretty cool. It was just like it was like at the it was like on the highway out in Waco Drive. It was just this little mouse or rat in its hand. It just flew away. It was like it was funny. Trey, so tell us tell us more about yourself. So you started doing, you did stand up in my shows.
Yeah.
He'll be there on March 25th for
yeah.
Harry Palm Sunday. Maybe Sanchez will be there.
I can't. I'm Catholic.
Are you for real?
Oh, he can't work
No,
on
you
Sunday.
don't. But you don't give a fuck about it. You had me going for a second. I was like, what?
If I wake up, last time, God, I felt so bad for missing because I wanted to go so bad because I know that was what's his name.
You're not talking about church. You're talking about the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
show.
yeah, fuck church. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we feel. So why did you feel bad? Because you said who was there?
I know he's gonna be. What's his name? Lauren.
Oh, Lauren Haynes. Yeah, that was his last.
That was his last, and I really wanted to
show,
see it
and,
because
like,
I always enjoyed his comedy. He always seemed like that smaller guy who's really really angry underneath. Like,
yeah, he's in was it Portland or Seattle now? One of those two, somewhere in the
good luck to him. Either
Pacific
way.
Northwest. I believe it was Portland. Thomas Nichols moved up to Seattle. Do you remember Thomas? Kind of scrawny, kind of black guy. Really hilarious guy.
Oh yeah.
He was one of the better stand-ups we ever had up there. And he moved. He would never tell anybody why he moved, which is the funniest thing. Because we were like, oh, because
The sex offender registry finally caught
I
up to
don't
me
know
in
what it
Texas.
was.
Damn.
Because I would ask myself, oh man, so what you got going on? What you got going on in Seattle? Did you get a?
That's the only reason you wouldn't tell anybody is if you're wanted for a
Like,
rape or murder.
I was
or
like,
something.
did you get a job offer there? Did you get, is there? I mean, you going up there because the stand-up comedy scenes? I mean, why are you going up there? He's just like, oh, you'll find out, man. You'll find out. It's like I never found out. So,
Oh man.
what have you?
Maybe he did have something planned.
I don't know. Oh gosh.
I mean, because if he was a sex offender, like Sanchez is saying, then he wouldn't be bragging. You'll find out. You'll find out.
It just means
that means he got caught.
It could mean that he was like, it could mean like he was like, no, I'm gonna rape my most rapiest here. It's gonna make national news. You'll
That's
see.
why they had the women's march after he's been there because he's caused so much problems.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have to teach
is that
him
the
not to
first one or
rape.
the second women's march?
I don't keep up with the.
I don't
women's
keep up with
march.
them either. I mean,
Yeah.
They've had several of them now.
yeah.
We should have some women on this show. That's
Yeah,
the way
this
I
is
feel.
this is very sexist area
It-
right here.
it
Yeah.
is. It is.
Jesus Christ.
You know,
Too many penises.
Maybe if there was a woman here, there could be someone to combat the fact that I believe that there's nothing sexy about being pregnant.
What's wrong with that?
Not unless you're into the.
Not unless you're into that, or if that she's
Not sexy. I mean,
because I've heard so many people say that. Oh, pregnant's sexy. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Your feet are all fat.
But they
You
can
got like
still,
fat on
here's
your
the thing.
fucking neck.
They can still be beautiful and pretty, but just not sexy. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
If that's what
There's
you're
a
into.
difference between someone who's sexy
There's
and someone who's
another
beautiful.
human being inside them at this point. That's not sexy.
No, that's not
Yeah.
sexy. And
I'm not talking about the physical. I'm just talking about the fact that there's a baby.
No, I'm talking about babies are unsexy. I guess. Yeah. I get. Yeah.
I don't know. I think pregnant ladies are pretty sexy because they put out.
Oh yeah, they
You
put
can't
out.
get them
but, like,
pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull out either.
You gotta make sure they don't have AIDS or anything now, though. Because they fuck without condoms.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
You could get AIDS from a pregnant woman.
I'll
Keep
roll
that
the
in-
dice, man.
Have you ever with a pregnant woman?
Fuck no.
Really?
Pregnant women are not fuckable to me. I'm sorry. Ugh.
Just get them
Gross,
a pillow,
man.
put them in doggy position.
Like ugh. Like, they get all fat and weird and stretch
I've read
marks.
articles.
It's
Stretch marks, and I'm pretty sure their arms get to the point where they get so fat they can't shave their asshole.
It's weird. I myself have been with very, very pregnant women, and it's you can't get on top because if you get on, first of all, you'll kill the baby, or I would.
I probably would too.
No, it's not that. It's just you can like feel like the bump, and you're like on top. It's like I can't. There's like a baby involved in this. I can't. It is not a turn on. No.
No.
Well, I'm lazy, so that sounds perfect for me.
Yeah.
You mean I
Sorry,
don't
you're
have to
gonna
be on top?
Yeah. Gosh, we just went down. See, before
Yeah,
Sanchez
and now
got
no
here-
one will ever sleep with me again. It's like
before
Trey's a
Sanchez
terrible
got in
lover.
here, we were having like this intellectual discussion about time as a flat
Yeah,
circle.
we were talking
and-
about time travel.
and
Oh God, Brian would have loved that.
and then you walked in and we started
He
talking
loves
about
talking about
then we
shit he
started
didn't know
talking effing pregnant chicks.
Yeah,
and,
I'm like-
and masturbating and
And I wonder what Randy would say.
Yeah.
So you're proud of yourself, Sanchez?
Oh yeah, I'm always proud of myself.
Okay, Trey, we're going to talk about a hot button issue on this show.
uh-oh.
Oh jeez. Maybe you'll have some actual insight because anytime anything involves death or
We want to know
I just don't care.
your opinion. And Sanchez, don't say anything.
What?
Let him finish.
Okay.
Your opinion on CC's Pizza.
Sanchez doesn't like it, and you'll never eat there. I know that.
No, what's your opinion on CC's Pizza?
I saw that on Facebook. I don't really have an opinion. I used to like it when I was a kid, but now that I'm not a kid, I don't think I'd ever want to go there
But why not? Why wouldn't you want to go there?
because it's full of fucking kids.
See, but what about the pizza itself?
The pizza's never been a draw.
But Sanchez acts. Hold on, Sanchez acts like it's unedible.
It is unedible.
It's nice.
I used to work there, and they used to all like, "You want to take some pizza home with you?" No, I'm good. I don't have anything. I wouldn't have anything about refrigerator. Like I'd be starving. I'm like, oh fuck, man.
You need to go work at Double Dave's or something. Just
Yeah.
Double
I went
Dave's
there the
pretty
other day.
good.
That was awesome.
Oh, we always got food now though.
You know, I went and had it at Double Dave's. It was funny because I'm such a pig. I've been actually really trying to cut down on what I eat, and I lost 5 pounds last week. But then I went to Double Dave's this week, and I think I gained it all back because I was sitting there with the kids, right? They're wanting to to play at the little games or whatever they have. And I'm sort of like, okay, it's time to go. And then I look over and I forgot about I don't know, is it like a stromboli? It's a cheese and steak thing that they cut up.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, is that stromboli? What is that? It's like steak and cheese kind of thing. And I was like, I forgot that they had that. I didn't see it on the buffet.
Cheesesteak.
No,
It's like cheesesteak, but they put
it's
it
like
in like a stromboli kind of deal. But they chop it up.
it's like a pig in a blanket, but with like steak and cheese.
Yeah, like melted, I'm assuming it's provolone. I don't know what it is. If it's a true cheesesteak, it's provolone. But
I'm not really into bread stuff with meat.
yeah, but oh man, I had to go back and get some of that. It was so good.
I like their pizza rolls. Their
You know,
pepperoni rolls.
I didn't realize until last time I went there. There's actually sauce in the salad bar.
There's sauce in the salad bar.
Well, I'm assuming it's spaghetti sauce because it's red. It looks like spaghetti sauce. I didn't try it, because I'd already eaten or whatever. But yeah, those pepperoni rolls, they stuff. It's like I don't see the point of eating those without the sauce. But anyway, I digest.
Was I not supposed to laugh at that?
No, that was good. That was a joke. You can laugh at jokes here. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I thought I
Or
was.
you don't have to.
So
Don't feel bad.
I don't have to smell as far.
the reason he doesn't like CC's is because of the children. Let's move on.
No. He even said the pizza wasn't a draw.
Other than
so,
that,
yeah,
other than that, the
I don't know.
pizza's delicious.
There's like that. There's like pies, dessert stuff that's pretty good there.
Thank you.
Oh shit, they haven't cooked those brownies fully through in years.
They're not that.
I was talking more like the apple cinnamon thing. I like that.
Brownies are just kind of gross.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they're
brownies
kinda
are.
like-
Yeah, see, that's one thing we can agree on is the
Thank
brownies
you.
are fucking gross over there.
Hey,
It
you
tastes
found
like-
some common ground.
They taste like the dough. It's like they haven't. Really
That's because they
cooked
don't cook them all the way through.
it. Why don't they?
Because they don't have a real oven to cook them. They send them through the pizza cooker.
Which CC's are we talking about?
The CC's over there.
On Valley Mills or whatever.
There's one in Belmeth
Belmeth.
too.
Yeah, I don't go near that one. I don't go. I mean, that's probably
I
a
have a
bad
question for
idea.
They,
To go to
they
a-
recently closed down the Casa Olay on Valley Mills. Is there still one out in Belmead?
Yeah.
I
My
might
friend
have to
was
go out
working there
because
for
they
a
have that
couple of
green
months.
sauce that you can get. Oh, I love that green stuff. Not a big fan of Casa Olay.
No, man. Well, mostly because there's a girl I know that used to work there, and I want her to get AIDS and probably choke on the next dick she sucks. So yeah.
Give me your number.
Tell us.
All right, maybe I'll put you up to the task.
can make that happen.
I can make at least one
She
of those
is kind
things
of a
happen.
whore, so
Try.
yeah, she would. She probably would.
So things ended well between you and this other person.
Oh well, yeah. She was kind of physically abusive, and
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh man, I'm.
This is my
into
fault.
that.
This. I'll
You know, my dad playfully reminded me about how my ex-wife hit me the other day, or last night.
Well,
It was- he playfully reminded me.
oh, you remember that battle
But
axe used to go upside your head?
I'll go into that story and say, but I want to hear your. What were you about to say?
When I was dating this girl, she'd worked there for a while. I've dated multiple girls that have worked there, and
Lucky.
not really, not really. They were all kind of either stupid and
They all sound like winners. They work at Casa.
Yeah, exactly. There was one girl that I was into that she ended up going on and doing really good things with herself, and
Like leaving Casa.
Yeah, that was the first step.
She's like really, she's incredibly intelligent, and she got out of here. And
So what's the story? You sound like you're about to go into a story there.
oh yeah. Okay, I was dating this girl. She was working at Casa Olay. It was like before it like 3 or 4 months before it closed down.
Oh, so really recent.
No, well, 3 or 4 months.
Before
It has to be a little bit longer than that because it's been some time.
So it's been within the past year, is what you're saying.
I'd say a year and a half, maybe.
It's important that we know. No, I'm just going. Go ahead.
Year and a half. I was dating this girl and you know, she's at first she started out nice, you know, like you're funny, you know, and then like she started getting really demanding, like and just like all around just like a morose person. And she started telling me what to do, and you know, you don't really fucking tell me what to do, and I told her that on multiple occasions, and she's just all of a sudden one day decided I was gonna move in with her.
Okay. Wow.
Did you have to pay rent?
No, I don't think so.
Oh fuck! What are you doing, man? Come on.
I'm not one of those dudes that could just like, you know, keep on going with someone just because you got a free spot, free place to live. I'm not I'm not a musician, so I can't.
Oh.
Be careful.
Oh,
what you
okay.
say,
He doesn't
Troy
know that
O'Brien.
I play music, does he?
No, I know plenty of musicians, and the joke is, it's like, what do you call a musician without a
My
girlfriend?
Yeah, they're homeless.
Yeah, you're homeless.
I'm not homeless though. I live in some old people's backyard.
He said it earlier. He lives in some old people's backyard.
I'm not even related to them. No, I'm dead serious.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
I live in a tent
Oh shit!
in their
that's all-
backyard. They let me They just let me chill out there.
They're afraid to tell him to leave.
Yeah. They don't even charge me rent.
Like,
Oh, that's good.
just leave him alone. He won't hurt
That's actually
anybody.
really good.
No, I live in a tiny house that's kind of like somewhat their electricity and stuff's attached to it.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So she became physically abusive. Like
Well, no,
after a
she didn't
while?
really become physically abusive until the end of the relationship. And this was kind of my fault because I'm kind of arrogant. If people
I haven't noticed.
if
Go
people haven't noticed, I'm kind of an arrogant asshole. Well, it came down to the day that we were supposed to move in, and she's like, "Where's your stuff?" I come in, it's like, "Where's your stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not moving in." And I just said it with a straight face, like there was no emotion to it. She's like, "What do you mean you're not moving in?" It's like, "I'm just not moving in." And it led
Did this
to
happen while you were doing this show?
no.
Okay, this is before.
No, so and here comes the fun part. Well, I get what little shit that I had over there, like a toothbrush, some toothpaste, some shampoo and stuff. And I grabbed it all, and it seemed like she was okay with it, But as soon as I go to leave, I'm like thinking to myself, it's like, man, this is way easier than I thought it would be. And right as I finish that thought, everything goes white.
Oh wow.
Everything just goes white, and I'm waking up, and I'm face first on the ground. My glasses are all fucking like I had a black pair of these. My glasses were all mangled up and shit, and then as I go to get up, she kicks me in the face. I kind of
She knocked you out?
No, she hit me in the back of the head with something. I think it was the fucking, what's it called? The ashtray that I bought her because it was shaped like brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Because I bought her an ashtray.
Dude.
Well, see, they say the part of the brain that controls your eyesight is in the back of your head. So
That would make
That makes
sense.
sense. If she hit you right in the back of the head, your eyes would flash white.
Yeah. So, and it was just it was just like that. It was like white ground. I wake up on the ground. Didn't even feel the hit to the ground. And about that time, too, I couldn't feel the first kick to the face.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you had passed out then.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I mean, I was fully awake for it. I saw the first kick me in the face, and I felt my.
I'm
Well,
thinking
what we're
though,
saying
probably
is
when
after
you got
we got
knocked
hit
to
in the
the
back of the head,
ground, you
you
were
were
probably
knocked
out.
out.
Yeah.
And then when you came to and got kicked in the face, you were still kind of out.
It was
Yeah.
probably only for like a second, but
It wasn't until the second one kicked to the face that I actually felt it. And I just kind of I was like,
not that it matters. But what was the race of this person?
it doesn't matter. Who's
That means it was Hispanic.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say it's
no.
one of two things, probably.
Who's the most entitled?
It wasn't an Asian woman.
Who's the most entitled women on the face of the fucking
they're
planet?
so meek and mild.
Who are the most entitled women on the face of the planet?
White
Oh,
women.
it was Aborigine.
White
okay,
women.
Cool.
White women. That's all I did is white
A
women.
white feminist.
No, she wasn't a feminist.
Oh, well, then she's
Just
not
some-
the most entitled person.
Well, she's probably a feminist now. I just kind of crawled out of there. And the thing is, I walked there, so I'm walking there I'm walking home all punch drunk.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
Did you press charges?
No one didn't press charges. I'm a
Why
dude. No one
not?
cares about me getting my ass
if
kicked by a
somebody-
woman.
I don't care if somebody kicks me in the face and it's unprovoked. I'm pressing charges, But F her, let her spend a night in jail, She deserved that shit. You didn't do anything else.
Mm-mm. I'm not gonna hit her. I can't hit her.
No, I don't mean that. I mean just like
So you're
not physical.
And she knew
retaliation.
I would never hit her. She knew that. I told her because I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a purple belt. I'm trying to keep on going with this. I don't want to get to the point where if they, I end up hitting some woman and it gets out into the news and then they don't want me coming back over there to train because of that shit. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, I'd never hit a woman.
Yeah.
But I'd sure kick a bitch.
There's a difference between a bitch and a woman. Damn it.
So you should use that in your set. I'd never hit a woman, but I'd kick a bitch. That would get a laugh. No, so I don't know if you probably know this. The wife I'm on now is wife number 2,
God,
the second wife.
how did you get a second one?
I can't even get a first one.
It's a long story.
I don't even want one.
I'm not sure.
So I was married. So I've been with Ruth now for 10 years, and
How fucking old are you?
so about
Ruth sounds like somebody in their 80s.
Oh, Ruth. Well, that's a joke with Ruth. She has an old person's name.
Yeah, she's got an old person name.
So anyway, before that, I was still married to my first wife when I met Ruth. and which anyway, anyway, getting back to so I was married to my first wife. She had mental problems, man, just to say the least. She was bipolar and just what have you.
Well, yeah, all women have that. They just it's just certain levels.
So
of it.
her deal was is that when she would get into fights with her mom, the way that the fights would end was her mom would get physically abusive with her. Like she'd end up basically throwing something at her and then feel so terrible for throwing something or hitting her own daughter. She'd start apologizing profusely and take all the blame. And that's how my ex-wife was used to winning all her fights. Was that even though she was in the wrong pretty much all the time, her mom took it too far, and then she had to apologize, and then that's how she won all her fights.
When have you ever met a woman that takes full responsibility for shit she's done?
Occasionally.
I don't think I've ever met one.
I've never been in a relationship with one.
Yeah, exactly. I've never met a woman that takes full responsibility either way. So
anyway,
that's just par for the course.
She would argue with me, and that's how she expected the argument to end. Except the thing is, I wasn't going to get physical with her. And she would get mad over just the stupidest things. I was married to her for a full year, and every single day she found something to cry about. Just something to cry about. She cried about something. She had mental problems, to say the least. And my self-esteem was so low at that point that I honestly thought I couldn't do any better. And this is just the way life is. That I have to be with this handicapped person because I don't mentally handicapped person, I should say. Not that people with mental handicaps are
we champion mental handicaps. We have Randy on the show on a regular basis.
I don't know if you'd call that a handicap or not.
It's a way of life.
She was actually mentally retarded. That's probably considered a handicap.
I remember this one time, and I don't feel bad talking bad about her because she did horrible things. We were at Walmart just standing in line, and she goes, "Hey, maybe after this we can go to Walmart." And I just looked at her like a crazy person because I was like, "Where do you think we are?" And she got so mad at me because I looked at her like a crazy person that when we got home, she ran in the house, locked the door behind her, locked me out of the house, and I had to like break in through the window just to get into my own house, just over that, just because she said maybe after this we can go to Walmart. And I just looked at her like she was crazy.
Was she trying to be funny?
No, she was stupid.
I thought she wasn't just reenacting the opening to the Flintstones.
No, what?
It wasn't the dog that locked you out.
Oh yeah,
the dinosaur.
Yeah. So that pissed me off. So I can't even remember what the fight was about. But
I mean, I realize there's a certain level of shit you got to put up with in a relationship. I guess that's why I can't.
This was unreal though. So we were just arguing about something, fighting about something, and she goes, she punches me in the arm. I said, "Don't punch me." So I'm not putting up with that. Don't punch me. And then it was probably because she wanted to do something that would hurt herself, because she'd always do that too. You know what it was? I remember now. She would cut herself. So I like got rid of like all her like little blades or whatever she had. I like threw those all away, and I put up all the sharp things in the house because I didn't want her to hurt herself. She got so mad she started hitting me, and I said, "I'm not. Don't do that to me. I don't deserve to be hit. Whatever." And I turned my back to her. Right? I said, "I don't care. Whatever." And then she went up and just kicked me as hard as she could, like, and she hit me right in the kidney. Right? What's what?
Just a full on.
Like she kicked me right in the back.
Was it one of those wrestling spinning back kicks?
No, she just this is so funny to say. It's like one of the most depressing
it's
parts
like
of my life.
Drop kick right to the kidney.
No, it was. All right, let me explain.
She kicked me in the kidney. I immediately started peeing blood.
So I was sitting on the bed, and she was laying on the bed. I just turned my back to her. And then
she just kind of like...
Yeah, she just went over and she kicked me as hard as she could, right?
Right.
And then like a day or two later, I'm at just at the house. I start peeing, and like all this blood comes out.
Oh, shit.
And it took me a second to realize like what it was from. And I was like, "Yeah, why am I peeing blood?" I said, "I got kidney stones, or what's going on here?" I don't
How
know.
long you been married?
At
How
that
long were you
point,
married to her?
We were together for a year, then we got married, and then we were married for a year. Then like the divorce was finalized or whatever. So she kicked me, and I peed blood. And I was just like, man, it's just so fucked up. But even then, I never hit her back. And so now I see these guys. I'm glad you guys said what you said about never hitting a woman. I see these guys.
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't.
No, I'm just.
Oh, some bitch had a knife on me.
Oh yeah.
I'd kick the shit out of that bitch.
What I'm saying is these guys that beat women, like wife beaters or whatever, I don't feel. I've been in their shoes. Like I've had one. She told me her exact words to me were, "A real man would hit me." She said that to me.
Oh, she's like probably did like BDSM type shit.
No.
Well,
She wanted me to hit her, so then I would regret it, so then she'd win the fight. Is what she was doing.
No.
So she'd say,
there are some women that don't give a fuck. They want you to fight them like a man. Yeah. They've been there. They've done that. I've had a friend of mine's aunt tell me one time. It's like, she's like, hey, if I ever fight you, you better start fighting me back. She's like, and he's like, what if they try to walk away? He's like, nah, baby, they ain't no walking away from me. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah. So anyway,
I've never been in that situation, but if I was, I feel like I would just go for like a submission hold or something.
Yeah, it's real easy to like to isolate.
It's the old Chris Rock bit. I'd never hit a woman, but I'd shake the shit out.
Yeah, that is.
Shanker?
No, shake. Like shake, grab her by the shoulders, like calm the fuck down.
You're not breaking her fucking neck.
Oh, so, you said shank like a prison weapon.
No. So that's the way I feel about wife beaters. I've been in your shoes, and I've never hit a woman. I don't think you have any excuse to hit women.
Oh yeah, they do. There's plenty of excuses.
No, there's no excuse.
In the bedroom, as long as
plenty
there's
of excuses. I mean, like I'm not saying I'm better than any guy that wouldn't hit a woman if a woman was hitting him. Like I don't feel sorry for women that claim that they were abused and like turns out that they were just as much a physical abuser as the man. Like I don't feel bad when I see a woman hit a man and then he cold cocks her. I don't feel bad at that at all.
I don't feel bad for that either.
So like I was saying, my dad just playfully remembered this. I don't know why he was talking about I don't know how we got on the subject of like being kicked in the back or hit in the back, and he goes, hey, you were kicked in the back before. And
see, like, that's like, me and your dad are thinking the same way, man. We're just it's funny.
Yeah. This was 12 years ago.
You know what he's saying
like
though? It's like, oh man, you remember that time when that girl used to beat you up?
Thing is, I don't know if I honestly don't know if my ex-wife is still alive. It's just weird.
Have you looked her up on Facebook? Or anything?
I've tried looking her up.
Not know that.
I've tried looking her up on different forms of social media. She's like nowhere to be found. Her family's nowhere to be found either, which is really weird. Not that I'm like wanting to Facebook stalk anybody, but just curious. I mean, wouldn't you be curious? Like, it's my first wife. Just curious, see what she's doing.
I guess I'm one of those like I'm not a sentimental son of a bitch at all.
I'm not sentimental either. I just want to see how fat she's got. Basically, is what I want.
Ouch.
No, she after we split up, she went around telling everybody that I had left her for Ruth, which was farthest from the truth. I'm not going to go. There's a long version of this, but the short version is this. I met Ruth when I was doing comedy over at Beatniks. When you remember Beatniks was still open. I was doing the open mic over there, and Ruth came to one of the shows. And
was she one of the MCC students?
No.
Okay. I was wondering because you got really upset with me about this.
No, I just never mind. I gave her one of my business cards.
No, it's a gateway to UMHB certificate. That's all it is.
Anyway,
all those single mothers with the sticker in the back of their fucking car. Yeah.
I gave her one of my business cards. Like I gave anybody. I wasn't expecting anything. And she sends me a message back on MySpace.
Wait, was your ex-wife from here in Waco, or where we all at?
She was my ex-wife was originally from Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. She was down here in Waco via the Methodist home. Her mother sent her to the Methodist home because she didn't know what to do with her.
How old was she?
When I met her, she was 18, and I was 24.
Those Methodist girls are so hot because they're so damaged.
Well, that should have been my first sign to not get involved.
You could put a cigarette out on them and they'll still love you.
Anyway, to make a long story very short, I gave Ruth a business card. Ruth sent me a message saying I'd like to go out with you sometime. And then I told my ex-wife, I said, this girl just asked me out. And then my ex-wife encouraged me to go out. Because she had cheated on me before. And she goes, you go out, have fun, do whatever you want. I said, I don't know. I don't feel weird about this. I don't want to go out with this girl because, you need a night of fun. Just go out and have fun. So I was like, I don't know. And I was really dragging my feet out. And I decided, okay, I'll do it. So I went out with Ruth. And Ruth still holds this against me because I wasn't totally upfront with her at the time. And I go out and nothing happened. We just had a really good. I fell in love with Ruth on that first date, because it's just like this was just like going from my ex-wife to her, going from my ex-wife to going from my ex-wife to her was just different levels of people. Anyway, and so. Thank you. I'll turn your mic back on for that. Okay.
What?
He didn't even do anything to begin with.
I was trying to finish a goddamn story. I'm trying to get.
All right, I got you.
So anyway, and this is the short version of it. So I go out and I come back. I'm like, and she's like, how'd you have a good time? I was like, yeah, I really wish I would have had on this date because I had a really good time. She goes, well, I'm glad you had a good time because I went out to fuck this other dude. She just is basically wanted me to get out of the house so she could go out and have sex with somebody. I was like, well, thank you for making this decision in my life incredibly easy because we're done, because I was raised as one of those people like, you never get divorced. You always try to work things out. So when she did cheat on me, I tried to work it out. And then she cheated on me again. I was like, no, it's not possible. And so anyway, she cheated on me. And I split up with her. And then she went ahead and told everybody that I was leaving her for Ruth. And I was like, you idiot, you cheated on me. You encouraged me to go out with her.
There goes the women not taking full responsibility for what they've done.
Yeah, she spread a whole bunch of lies about me. And so I lost. What was funny was we had of course we were married. We had the same group of friends. And I had those group of friends not talk to me for a while, but then they sort of caught on to her bullshit. And it's kind of funny because I'm all friends with them again because I think they figured it out in their minds that she was just full of shit.
Yeah, I had an ex-girlfriend say that I was abusive or something, said that I hit her or something like that. I didn't find out till years later.
I did not
told
hit
a bunch
her.
of people.
I did not do it.
I did not.
Yeah, I've had the girlfriend that, or not the girlfriend, or basically just the friend who talks shit behind my back. Like, they didn't want people to know that we were fucking, so it's just like, oh man, yeah, he keeps calling me, it's like, bitch, you show up at my house drunk, every night. Like, you started blowing me one night when you were halfway in my window, because I sleep with the bed. At the time, I was sleeping next to a window.
Whoa. That's hot.
That's hilarious.
It was serious.
She was blowing you through the window.
Yeah, she was so drunk that she came, she tried to come in.
You just kind of what, hold on. Were you just were you on your knees standing, or were you just in bed, or
I was just in bed, asleep like this, and the window's right next to it.
The window just opens up. She's like, I can't get all the way in, but I see something I want.
Yeah, she's so drunk she can't get in there, so she's
I've never had that happen. We woke up to a blowjob.
I wish.
That's the
I've
best
never
thing
had
ever.
that
Oh my
happen
god, that's the
before.
best thing ever. Because if you're lucky, when you're dreaming about another girl.
Oh god.
And then when you wake up, it's another girl, so you could technically be like, well, I got my dick sucked by two girls.
It's the old question of if you wake up and you feel it getting sucked on, do you look down or do you just?
Sometimes you just gotta fuck it.
Because you're not sure who's down there,
Just sink in, fuck it, man.
Knowing my luck, I'd be having a nightmare that some gay dude was blowing me or something.
Oh man, that's amazing. Through the window.
Yeah, I've met some real fucking dirtbag women in my life. I guess that's what soured me to actual relationships.
Yeah.
Here's the thing here's the kind of effed up thing. You never pass any of those on to your buddy Brian. I don't get it.
It's just, he deserves better than that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What about Randy? Would you?
Oh yeah.
Give him to Randy.
Well, that's what I wanted to do with Tinder. But apparently it's harassing people.
Sanchez had this idea for a bit that he goes on Tinder, just harasses women.
Well, no, I wasn't.
Did you get a lot of matches?
No, I haven't done it yet. I've downloaded it. I'm waiting for the okay. That way I can go on there. I'll meet women.
I would rather.
I'll meet women, and then and when it's time to meet them, I send Randy, and Randy gives him that whole, oh, this is an old picture spiel. See, that's fucking hilarious.
The concept is funny. The outcome, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Randy's been maced enough to be able to take it.
Oh my god.
I think he's grown an immunity to it.
I'm not just a big fan of those pranks. I just don't like the idea.
I kind of like the mace now.
You gotta get a taste for it.
I got a
Tastes kind of like peppermint.
I got a taste for the mace.
Oh man, I wonder where Randy is. Who knows? Oh, that's right. He's killing people.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think he activated as a serial murderer.
It's like
He's got like this gene inside of him
Yeah.
that just
it's
flipped
like
on.
a weird.
I'm
MK
waiting for him
Ultra
to say
kind of
he's
thing.
gonna start driving trucks cross country, and then I'll know, like, yeah, there's gonna be a string of dead white women fucking like littering like fucking I-35,
Oh, my
you know,
God. Yeah.
lined.
Well, Trey, are you glad you came out tonight?
No.
We're glad to have you, man.
Yeah, it's good to have just me and him. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to McBrine, but at the same time, it's like, I know he doesn't want to have to deal with my nonsense all goddamn night.
No. I thought it was boring you with my story because I told him this long story last week. What was it about? It was comedy
it
career,
started
yeah.
out like your entire career.
Yeah. I thought honestly it would probably be good just to get it on tape, so I never have to repeat it again, so people can just watch the show.
Yeah. I have a feeling that as I grow older, I'm not gonna want anybody to be able to repeat what I just said here.
Do you want to be remembered? Because the reason I ask this is that I've asked Ruth this lots of times. She doesn't want to be remembered. Anybody. By
Sounds
anybody. or
like a
anything.
weird. I feel like most people would.
That's the way I am. But she's like, I can be forgotten by history. I don't care.
I just want that one thing that people like. Just one thing people remember. Then that.
Well,
Actually, I could do something and never get credit for it, but as long as people know that happened and it was it had a good
Kind of
outcome.
like having the name of your show be the Mike McBrine Show with Mike McBrine, and then a guy on Netflix does like a similar show.
Well, it's not similar. I mean, the name is similar.
Yeah.
But it's basically
The joke is the same, though.
Yeah.
The joke is the same. Anyway, I was telling you earlier about the origins of how I got the name. It's ironic that Joel McHale has this association with Chevy Chase, because that's where I kind of got the idea for doing the Michael McBrine Show with Michael McBrine. Because if you remember you're too young to remember.
I'm skeptical.
Chevy Chase had his own talk show in '93.
Oh God, it bombed so bad.
And what was funny is
How many episodes were they able to get out
I
before
think
they
they
finally
got 2 weeks out.
Oh,
2
God.
weeks worth of episodes. And he was broadcast live from the Chevy Chase Theater, which I always thought was just such an arrogant thing to name the theater after yourself. And so that's what I kind of had that in my mind of the Mike McBrine Show with Mike McBrine. And it's funny that Joel McHale has the same idea, and he has like an association with Chevy Chase. It's just ironic. But one time I heard this story about they tried to get Howard Stern to replace him because it was on Fox, and Fox they had that time
It's
open.
back when Howard was actually good.
Yeah. Well, let's not go into it. Anyway,
What?
When would that have been?
Anyway,
That was back in like.
anyway, so they wanted him to take over that
was when-
slot.
That's when Artie Lang was still there.
They wanted him to take over that slot. So he was considering it, and then one of the stipulations would be he would have the same theater that Chevy Chase did. He thought it'd be great to still keep the name Chevy Chase Theater, and just do the Howard Stern Show live from the Chevy Chase Theater. How awesome would that have been?
I'm sure there was some kind of licensing issue with that.
I don't know because I don't know. I think his story was he didn't do the show because they didn't offer him barely any money at all. It was just the money wasn't there, so he didn't think it was worth it. But anyway, so how do you feel about this? Because I told this to the group a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still in awe of Randy's response to this, which was going after one of the other local DJ's job as far as having a show, like we take over one of the morning shows, like the Kid Craddock or whatever.
This is what he went to. It's like, yeah, get rid of Kid Craddock.
Who
Like,
was
he's
that?
dead.
Who was it that didn't realize Kid Craddock was dead?
That was him that didn't realize.
Oh,
he was
Randy.
dead. Randy
Yeah.
didn't realize.
It was a
he dead.
revelation that Kid
I
Craddock.
thought you were saying Kid Craddock didn't realize he was dead.
Yeah, he might because the show's still on for whatever reason. And I said, And basically, I was telling him, it's like, wouldn't you want us to take over? Like either the morning show or the drive home show or the late, whatever. We just like have us do a show just because we know we can do a better show. We know we can do a funnier, more entertaining show. And then Randy was like, no, I don't want those people to lose their job. I don't want them to have to have all that college money wasted if they went to college. And I was trying to get through to him that this is a dog-eat-dog world. And if they lose their job because we can do a better show, then you know what? They should have done a better show.
Yeah, that's
Honestly.
how that's marketing. That's business. That's how it works.
And it's still
Like if you have a crappy product and people aren't buying it and somebody's making it better.
So how would you feel about that if I ever got approached and said, I need you to find 4 or 5 guys or whatever, just do a morning show? How would you feel about that?
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I don't know.
Well,
I'd have
morning
to hold
show,
my
like
tongue a little bit.
6 o'clock. What's that, like 5
I have to
o'clock
learn
in the
to hold
morning?
my tongue a little bit.
You can do it.
I
Don't
can
worry
swear a lot.
about it. There's one that just drives me crazy. It's the nighttime guy on the Bear, whatever that show is. He's not very smart. He tries to be. He's okay. He's better than Johnny Strange, if you remember Johnny Strange.
I love Johnny Strange. What the hell are you talking about?
Johnny Strange, the guy who talks
Yeah,
like this,
exactly.
and
I talk like that.
Yeah. I called him up a few times back when he was the morning guy, and I was just called him up just because I was so sick of him. I just wanted to tell him off on his show because I was crazy. And he goes, "All right, so tell us, what was the name of Clark Kent's boss in Superman to win poison tickets?" And I was like, you know what, you could. I said, what? And I was like, apparently I was like a ticket winner, and they're like, you can either get the poison tickets or it was like something else. I was like, so who's the boss? Who was Superman's boss at the Daily Planet? I was like, well, it's Perry White. And I'm like, oh, we got a winner. Because Johnny says, I bet this guy's got like 1,000 comic books. I was like, well, that's not common knowledge. Perry White? No. I was like, do you have to be a super nerd to know who Superman's boss was?
Yeah, sort of, because he's not really a compelling character.
But anyway.
He's not a very central character.
Yeah, they don't make action figures for Perry White.
But I mean, they made he was in like all the Superman movies. So I mean, if you watch movies,
yeah, but they kept on changing him. He's
not the first 3 or 4 movies.
yeah, but it's still Lawrence Fishburne.
But
sleepwalking through that role.
I think one time I won like a $25 gift card somewhere, and so I had the choice. I could either just tell them off or just get the gift card. And I always chose the gift card, but it was fun. I never intended.
I can be bought.
I could choose my pride or some money.
I never intended to call in to answer the question. I was just calling in to tell him off. Isn't that
That's pretty funny.
Sad situation for him that the only people that called into his show were the only people that could call in to win his contest were the ones that hated him. Anyway, that's our time for tonight. Want to thank our very special guest, Trey. Trey, you think he'll maybe come back sometime?
We'll see what we can work out.
It's up to Sanchez. Actually, it's really up to Randy. He calls the shots around here.
Oh yeah.
I don't call no shots.
Well, let Randy know I'm the one that's always
Randy.
saying to let that boy alone. He'll have me.
No, he likes the
He's
abuse. He's gonna be like, no, he can't come then.
He's gonna.
He loves being the center of attention. He doesn't care what form it comes.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the
I'll
reason
give him.
why
I'll give him a little back rub.
Yeah. You don't want to touch.
Yeah, I probably don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he'd probably like.
You can't smell through a camera, so I don't know if he's like just gross.
He usually doesn't smell.
Usually, oh god.
But he does wear the tightest fucking clothes for no reason. Have you noticed that? Like,
I think he's just oblivious to the fact that he needs to go up a size. You know. It's because probably he went all throughout high school.
I think he stopped. I think he thinks that because his brain stopped working that means he'll stop growing.
No, I think he just
His brain stopped growing, so should his body.
Yeah, he needs to go up a size or go on a diet. One of the two.
He's not going to go on a diet.
You know.
Should do both at the same time.
Like we told you, like me and Brian told you about, like, or Brian told you about, like, that time that he was younger, and they were at a buffet.
No.
And he just started throwing up everywhere.
What?
Because he ate too much. He had already ate somewhere else, and then
he wasn't actually at the buffet line though.
no, he wasn't at the buffet. He was at the table.
He did a bang bang.
It was
Louis C.K. calls it. Is where you stuff yourself at one place, then you go
and then
to
they
another
go to
place.
another. Yeah, I did that Thanksgiving 2 years in a row. But Randy, he was telling me that Randy was like, yeah, he was eating all this food, and his mom was like telling him, hey, Randy, slow down, stop, dude.
I've only heard of children doing this.
The meal's not over
Yeah.
whenever I'm done. The meal's over when I hate myself.
Well, he said, Brian told me that like all of a sudden he just starts throwing up all over there around the table and everything. He said his sister just like straight up turned into a ghost. Like she got out of there so fast that she left like what's that fucking silhouette like
Yeah, cartoons. Yeah, that dust.
yeah. She left so quick that it was just like a dust cloud. Like
I don't blame her at all. Jesus, Maria.
It's pretty gross.
I still want her on the show. You don't know how bad I just would love to talk to her about Randy. That would be, and have Randy. No, here's what we need to. I was thinking about this. I think it was today or the other day. It's like we really need to get some more cameras set up in here. I don't know what we need to do, how much it would cost to get some nice camera set up, and just have one camera just on Randy, just in the corner. Just so I can periodically just see what his reaction is like, and have his sister come in and talk about him, and don't give him a mic, but just have him sit there and just have to sit there. And
I don't think they're gonna want to be in the same room, honestly.
Mm.
But you got to talk to Brian about that.
If I ever see Brian again,
Brian should be here Friday.
yeah,
You
but
don't
we
have
want
to
him
go
on
anywhere.
Wednesday.
Huh?
Trey's gonna be our Wednesday Brian, I think.
Our Wednesday, Brian.
Our Wednesday Brian.
Well, Trey's a little bit different. He actually contributes.
Yeah, are you gonna say weird stuff that has nothing to do with anything?
Yeah, Brian, that's what I think that's what I love about like working with Brian here, because it's like we're on a subject. He's like, well, aren't we all a wormhole?
Who's to say?
Who's to say we're not a wormhole? What the fuck does that even mean? Shut the
How
fuck
are you today, Brian? Well, how are any of us? That's exactly.
In the grand scheme of things, what does it even matter?
Exactly,
What does it
right.
even mean, man?
Yeah.
You know, in 100 years, no one will even remember you. So
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Well,
So how do you feel about this, Brian? Well,
I mean, I'm
I
kind
believe
of a
that
nihilist,
anime
but I'm
cats
not
are
like
the sexiest
outwardly
cats.
so.
what was that?
I said I'm somewhat of a nihilist, but not like outwardly so. I focus all my hatred inward.
yeah, me too. I like to do this thing where it's like I'll stand in front of a mirror and I'll
Like
just
my life
roast
doesn't
myself.
matter, but yours might.
What you roast yourself?
Yeah. Think
Is
about
that,
it.
is that healthy?
Yeah, that's
Probably
healthy.
not.
Think about it. Think
That
about it.
sounds indicative of some kind of mental problem.
No, think about it. Just think about it. You know all your insecurities. You know everything that makes you hurt, that makes you angry, that makes you all that. If you can take that and you can look at yourself and you can like roast yourself and you can make it funny, then there's not going to be anybody that can say anything to you that hurts or anything like that.
I've got a similar method. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to give a fuck at some point, but yeah, you're right.
It's kind of like
It's fun too because like that's why I came up with that joke I had on Facebook the other day. I was looking at myself and I was just roasting myself. So it's funny as long as it's funny. I don't care. And plus, it makes me really good at roasting people. So
Yeah. Well, it's about that time to wrap it up. Want to thank Trey for being on the show tonight. Thank you, Sanchez, for coming in. Or we should thank Brian for letting you come. No, I'm just kidding.
he's late.
Well, actually, we should thank Randy for letting us do this show.
Oh yeah,
So,
thanks Randy for.
he's
paying.
getting his own show soon, right?
He keeps talking about it. We tried Randy Uncensored.
But he wouldn't. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. It's like we talk about whenever Randy calls you and he just doesn't say anything. It's like, why did you call me, Randy? All right, you've been watching the Mike and McBrine Show. Of course, it's a presentation of Hot Air Media. Of course, can always be found on